Shadows over Kepler. The hopeless stand. The stars over Kepler burned cold and clear, shining down on a tiny, fragile hope that was about to be crushed. Captain Jake Morrison stood rigid on the bridge of the patrol ship Liberty, trying to project calm to his crew even as dread churned in his gut. The sensors painted a grim picture. 847 alien warships. The blood-red icons crawling across the main display. Moving closer and closer, his crew watched the screens in grim silence. Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez, voice taught, relayed updates as each human outpost vanished. Mining Station 7 just went dark, she said, and Jake saw her hands tremble where she thought no one could see. That's the fourth this shift. Not your fault, Jake said quietly, but she just nodded, not meeting his eyes. They all knew what was coming. The Zeltring Empire, the most brutal power in the Orion Arm, had decided that humanity was a problem best erased. The Liberty wasn't even a warship, just a colonial patrol vessel with enough weapons to deter pirates. Nothing more than a pebble before a tidal wave. The main human fleet was weeks away. No one would come. The colonies would burn. We could try to run, whispered Chief Engineer Pete Collins, voice barely above the hum of the bridge. Sweat beaded on his forehead, eyes wide with fear. Jump to hyperspace. Maybe warn Earth Command. Jake shook his head. It wouldn't matter. Even if we got there, even if Earth sent every ship in the fleet, it's not enough. He swept his hand across the display, showing the Zeltrian fleet, ships 3 times the size of any human vessel, each bristling with weapons that could reduce cities to dust. We're not beating that, no one argued. They stared at the screen in haunted silence. Humanity had always fought against the odds. Wars, famines, disasters. Humans survived because they adapted, because they refused to kneel. Jake clung to that thought, even as logic told him hope was gone. He gripped the edge of the console, knuckles white. Then, out of nowhere, something changed. Sir, Amy said, voice sharp. We're picking up another contact. A large mass just appeared. Near Kepler 4. She frowned, fingers dancing on the controls. That can't be right. It's too big. And wait, it's not in any registry. It's human, sir. Or at least looks like it. Jake moved quickly to her station. On the screen, a new icon shimmered, distant but undeniable. A single. Massive ship, alone, dwarfing anything nearby. Try to contact them. All frequencies. Amy worked the comms, cycling through codes, but only empty static replied. No answer. The mysterious ship didn't even acknowledge their existence. The Liberty's crew watched, baffled, as the ship began to move, not sluggishly like most giant vessels, but fluid and quick, curving through space as if it ignored the laws of inertia. Sensors wavered, unable to lock on. On the other side of the system, the Zelthrians noticed, too. Admiral Kether's flagship loomed at the center of the vast fleet. When the report came in about the lone ship, he was amused. Let it approach. Destroy it if it gets in our way. Jake's heart hammered in his chest. Somewhere, deep in the files of his memory, a legend flickered. The story of the HSV Eternal, a prototype warship that vanished 300 years ago, rumored to be lost with all hands. But this... could it be? He leaned forward, eyes never leaving the screen. Keep watching. Whatever happens, don't miss a thing. Ghost ship. The return of the Eternal, as the Liberty tracked the mysterious ship. Jake ordered Amy to run every scan, every historical match. She pulled up a faded design. HSV Eternal, last of its line, built with experimental adaptive hull technology. Lost during a failed first contact. Supposedly myth. Supposedly destroyed, but the evidence was impossible to deny. The new vessels, silhouette matched the old diagrams, except the hull was changing, flowing like mercury, as if the ship rebuilt itself with every passing second. Energy readings spiked and changed, impossible to classify. Captain, Pete whispered, this isn't like anything I've seen. 1 second is a fusion signature, then something else, something off the scale. The Liberty's comes filled with noise, as the mysterious ship drew closer to the heart of the Zeltrian formation. The aliens, confident in their overwhelming firepower, laughed off the warning. "Send a shot," Admiral Kether commanded, gesturing with an impatient claw. "Let the humans see futility." A Zeltrian cruiser spat a bolt of blue-white plasma, enough energy to shatter a moon. The crew braced for a distant explosion. But the plasma vanished on contact, simply disappeared, as if it never existed. "Sir?" Amy's voice was a whisper. "It's gone. Not deflected, not absorbed, just gone." For the first time, a shudder ran through the alien fleet. Then, for the first time, the Eternal spoke. The voice echoed across every channel, filling the Liberty's bridge and the Zeltrian flagship, soft and terrifyingly calm. "This is Commander Lisa Park of the Eternal. Colonial Defense Protocol 7 is now active. All civilian vessels, maintain distance." Pete stared at the speaker. "Sir." Lisa Park died 3 centuries ago. The alien admiral laughed, but it sounded forced. "Human tricks. Destroy them." The Zeltrian fleet opened fire. The Eternal seemed to shimmer, warping reality around itself. The energy of the alien weapons froze in place, then impossibly reversed course. Plasma bolts screamed back toward the attackers, impossibly amplified. The first line of the Zeltrian fleet simply vanished, erased as if they'd never existed. No explosion, no debris, just gone. Amy gasped. 40 warship, gone in seconds. Jake stared at the screen, numb with shock and awe. He realized with a cold chill that the legend was true, and that Earth's greatest weapon had returned. Erasure. Protocol. The impossible battle panic erupted across the Zeltrian fleet. Admiral Kether bellowed for more firepower, demanding explanations from his staff. No one had answers. The Liberty's bridge was filled with stunned silence and the distant, echoing voice of Commander Park. "Retreat immediately or face total annihilation," the voice intoned. But pride and fear clashed in Kether's heart. He would not run. Not now. "Converge all ships on the human vessel," he snarled. Maximum firepower. 800 warships pivoted in perfect formation, the stars between them flickering with the energy of weapons systems at full charge. Jake and his crew watched helplessly as the Eternal seemed to divide. Its hull split, then split again. Each new vessel identical, warping and shimmering, multiplying until the sensors could no longer count. 12 ships, 20, 50. The numbers shifted, impossible to lock onto. Each ship was a shadow of the original, existing in the same place. At the same time, Pete looked up, eyes wide. They're all connected. One ship, 100 places. I don't know how the Zeltrians unleashed everything. The void lit up with plasma, antimatter, and beams designed to cut through battleships like paper. But nothing struck the Eternal. The attacks vanished on contact, space swallowing every shot. Admiral Kether roared in frustration, but fear gnawed at him. He'd faced armies, destroyed worlds. Nothing had ever been like this. The Eternal did not counterattack at first. Instead, it advanced, its multiplied hulls drifting among the enemy ships. A new voice joined the chorus, old and young, male and female, a blend of all the Eternal crew. "You have chosen extinction," it echoed. "So be it." And then, one by one, Zeltrian warships began to vanish. War in the void. Humanity's secret weapon within moments. Chaos consumed the Zeltrian fleet. Ships fled in all directions, only to disappear the instant they crossed the boundary created by the Eternal's copies. Admirals screamed orders, but discipline collapsed. No science explained what was happening. On the Liberty, Jake and his crew watched, stunned. Amy tried to scan for any sign of how the Eternal's power worked. "It's like quantum echoes," she said. Maybe the crew, maybe they merged with the ship. Fragments of ancient logs appeared on their screens, as if the ship was sharing its memories. They saw glimpses of the original Eternal's final hours, experiments with AI, quantum consciousness, and something never meant for war. The Zeltrian flagship was all that remained. Kether, facing total destruction, tried one last desperate move. A direct collision course? Sacrificing himself and the last of his fleet, the Eternal simply parted. And the flagship vanished without a sound. Space was quiet again. All that remained of the most powerful fleet in the galaxy was nothing, just a whisper in the dark on Liberty's bridge. The crew realized they'd witnessed not just survival, but a new kind of warfare. Something born of human fear, human hope, and human genius. The Eternal turned its many faces toward Earth, and the voice spoke one last time. Threat neutralized. Earth is protected. And then it faded, leaving only silence and awe behind. Ghosts in the machine. The new age of fear, the galaxy reeled as word spread. The human warship had appeared, destroyed an entire armada, and vanished. The Zeltharians, who ruled by terror, found themselves terrified. Other empires reconsidered. Old grudges, calculating risks, the Liberty's crew filed their report, knowing no one would believe the whole truth. Jake sat at his desk, replaying the last moments, the words echoing in his mind. Even our ghosts are dangerous. Back on Earth, leaders and scientists pored over data from the encounter. Some called for finding the Eternal, seeking to control or destroy it. Others said it should remain undisturbed. Legend, a warning. In the weeks that followed, the Eternal signal flickered at the edge of distant systems. Colony ships, pirates, even scavenger crews reported seeing a massive, shifting silhouette, always just beyond reach. The Zeltharian Empire fractured. Former slave species rose in rebellion, inspired by rumors of the avenging ship. Humanity was no longer prey. They were legend. Jake Morrison looked at the stars, wondering if the Eternal would return again, if it would always be there, watching. Over them, an immortal guardian or an eternal threat. One thing was certain. The galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. Even in death, humans had found a way to win. Asterisk.